So good morning to our Facebook Live family that is joining us. Welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. Today is Sunday, November the 15th, and our topic for today is how engaged is God as us? And this is an exciting time for us here at the Monterey Center because we're also kicking off the 40-day prosperity plan. This is our launch for this consciousness raising, consciousness shifting plan. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you may have participated in the past, and it may be a new experience for some of you. And what I want to say about prosperity, when we hear the word prosperity, often we think of money. And money is just one element of prosperity. As I was sitting in meditation this morning in my own personal preparation, there's a beautiful oak tree that is right in front of my window. And I'm looking at the oak tree and I'm looking at how the branches twist and turn and intertwine together. I'm looking at the leaves on the tree. And the leaves are an example of abundance. There are more leaves on the tree that I could really count. And so this is an example of abundance. To awaken to the sunshine, a bright, clear morning is an example of abundance. We wake up to the snow or the rain or the fog or wherever we may be. That also is an example of abundance. Just waking up, recognizing our oneness with spirit is an example of abundance. And so we invite you to join us for this very inclusive class. Today is day one. So those of you who have the abundance book, we'll start today with day one. And I'm going to ask our tech team to bring up the slide for the opening statement, which we ask you to write in your journal. I will read it for you, and I invite you to just be with the words as I am reading them for you. And again, write this in your journal. For those of you who have the book, if you have the pocketback version of the book, the paperback version, the pocket size, you can find this statement on page 28. And if you have the hardbound copy of the book, you can find the statement on page 31 and 32. So our opening statement for day one. This day, November 15th, 2020, I cease believing in visible money as my supply and my support. And I view the world of effect as it truly is, simply an outpicturing of my former beliefs. I believed in the power of money. Therefore, I surrendered my God-given power and authority to an objectified belief. I believed in the possibility of lack, thus causing a separation in consciousness from the source of my supply. I believed in mortal man and carnal conditions, and through this false belief gave man and conditions power over me. I believed in the mortal illusion created by the collective consciousness of error thought, and in doing so, I limited the unlimited. No more. This day, I renounce my so-called humanhood and claim my divine inheritance as a being of God. This day, I acknowledge God and only God as my substance, my supply, and my support. And so again, as you participate in the plan, write this statement out in your journal. And there's something in writing it out. There's something in that physical act of writing it out that gives more power and more credibility, and it really anchors it within the physical being. There are 10 statements of principles, and we are to read one statement each day. And this means that we will go through the entire list 4 times during the 40-day period. Now, the key is that the 40 days are to be consecutive, 40 consecutive days. If we miss a day, start all over from day one. And I've done this, I think I was first introduced to this plan in maybe the mid or the late 1990s. And so I've been doing this for a number of years, and I can't tell you how many times that I've had to start over. And sometimes I do a little cheat. I figure if I start by at least 11:40 or 11:45, then I've made it for the day. So there are little games that I play with myself. The key, though, is that we do it for 40 consecutive days. And so I'm going to ask our tech team to bring up the slide with the statement for day one. And we will read the statement. I will read the statement, and then I will invite us into just a brief meditation period as I set my timer. You know, technology has its beauty, and then it has its defaults. Sometimes you can't preset something; it'll revert back to the way it was. But for those of you who are listening to the replay of our Facebook Live broadcast, there will be a moment of silence, and this is not anything that has to do with your system, your equipment. There will be a period of silence, and I just want to acknowledge that up front. And so our statement for day one, we begin today of the 40-day prosperity practice. God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me, the reality of me. God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me, the reality of me. God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me, the reality of me. And I invite us now into a few moments of stillness just to contemplate this statement. And so as we gently bring our awareness back into the space, this is the practice. So I say the principle 3 times, and then we meditate on it for 15 minutes, and then journal and allow whatever journaling comes forth to reveal itself. And most of all, be gentle with yourself. This is about expanding our consciousness. And again, if you miss a day, start all over from day one. The intent is that we do this practice for 40 consecutive days. And we invite you to join us on Thursdays from 6:30 to 7:30 for a 1-hour group meditation. And we will meditate on the principle for that day. So even if you've had to miss and start all over again, we invite you to join the weekly meditation as a community, as a group, because it is a way of just continuing to expand the consciousness awareness, and the group synergy of us coming together in this practice really is beneficial and has tremendous payoffs. I've asked our tech team to drop into the chat the logistics for the 40-day prosperity program, and also it will be in the comments on our Facebook Live session. And for those of you who are joining us on Zoom, at the end of the service, if you click on chat, there's 3 little dots at the bottom that will highlight and that will allow you to save the chat so that you have the instructions for the 40-day. And again, the required materials are your presence, the abundance book, and a journal. And so today we explore the topic and the question of how engaged is God as us. And as we begin our 40-day prosperity plan, we recognize that being open to embracing prosperity in all of its forms has some requirements. And the main requirement is to let go of the past. Remember in the opening statement, we said that I now renounce my humanhood, and I recognize that I surrendered my God-given power to an objectified source. And then we say, no more, no more. I do that no more. So I am letting go of the past. And I share with you this quote from Asha Tyson that really resonated with me about the past. And it says, your journey has molded you for greater good, and it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think that you have lost time. There is no shortcut to life. It took each and every situation you have encountered to bring you to the now, and now is the right time to be, and now is right on time. And I remember when I was going through practitioner training, my teacher said to us, and this was in Prac 2, my teacher said to us, all of the experiences that life has brought to you up until this point will support you in being a minister, will support you in being a good minister. And of course, at that time, I was denying the call. I was not listening to it myself. Everyone around me saw me as a minister, but I continued to run from that calling until I was in a situation where I could run no further. And I'll share that story in another setting. But what my teacher said about the experiences of the past have certainly rang true in my life. All of those experiences I now have an opportunity to reflect back on. And I go, oh, this was something that was preparing me for where I am now. So in letting go of those things which were not pleasant, were not comfortable, didn't feel good, letting all of that go and embracing the greater good, I really have discovered that every experience is exactly what I have needed for right now. Letting go of the past allows us to release regrets. And as we become more aware of the truth of who we are, we begin to realize that everything that happens creates an opportunity for us to build trust, and it supports us in being willing to be more open and more daring to really experience life as it unfolds. We go back to the question, how engaged is God as us? I would say that as we pay attention to what is happening in each moment, we discover that life continually brings us opportunities to heal our past wounds. And I think about my own self and my own experience. And as I continue to do my inner forgiveness work, it becomes safe for those people who have crossed my path, if you will, in a former experience. For those people that have wronged me based on my perception of the interaction between us, it has made it safe for them to travel down the memory lane of my mind and not have to worry about stepping on a landmine. Those things that triggered those old experiences fade away. This is one way of God engaging as me, engaging as us, in releasing those things of the past which no longer serve us. We recently elected a president. And whether you support the winner or not is not important. Let us remember that we all chose this president through our consciousness. Our consciousness makes a difference. Our consciousness is who we are. We are one. And so what this means is that in our cosmic democracy, we are connected at a subatomic level. One of the cornerstones of our teaching is that we're all one. We are reflections of the one source. We are all one in spirit. We're all one with each other. No matter who the president is, let us engage in the field of love and stand for love in our households, in our communities, and in the areas where we engage. As we deal with the past, paying attention to what is happening each moment in the present, we free ourselves to connect with life more fully. This is one way to expand our prosperity and abundance consciousness. I received a message from one of my contacts, and the heading was "Wishing You Abundance." And that really got my attention. I go, "Wishing you abundance." This really sounds like a wonderful greeting. And the message was actually announcing the beginning of the celebration of Diwali, which began yesterday, November the 14th, and lasts for 5 days. This is a significant Hindu festival, and the friend who sent this message is a practitioner of the Hindu tradition. It's a celebration of light over darkness, and it symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And I looked up through Google some of the various elements of this celebration. And these are a few that resonated with me, and I feel that they tie in with our beginning of our 40-day celebration. This celebration is known as a celebration of prosperity, giving strength and zeal to carry on the good work and the goodwill for the rest of the year, which promises prosperity and success. Most importantly, in the tradition of Diwali, it illuminates the inner self. The lights of Diwali are also a significant time to destroy all dark desires, dark thoughts, and have a deeper inner illumination and self-reflection. So it is the time to go within. Our participation in the 40-day prosperity plan is a way of invoking light over darkness as we illuminate our inner self and we become more aware. We recognize and express the gratitude and the limitless abundance that is currently in our lives. And there's an expression that says, what we praise, we raise, what we give thanks for. When we expand our Thanksgiving container, that mental mold of gratitude, as we expand that, we create an opportunity for more good to come into our lives. Life is ever giving of itself. This is from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. Life is ever giving of itself. Everything in the universe is for us. Life, love, God, Spirit is living out its perfect life as us. This is how God is expressing itself through us. So we respond to that question by knowing that life, love, God, Spirit is living out its perfect life, living its perfect life, living its perfect life as us. It is knowing more of itself as us. Remember, we are one with Spirit, and Spirit is expressing itself through us and as us. And so this perfect life is knowing more of itself as us. And the only way that Spirit can bring forth our value for a world that works for everyone is through us. Everything happens through us. It does not happen to us. It happens through us. Spirit is 100% engaged in us. And so the question we ask now is, are we 100% engaged with Spirit? This does not mean pulling away from the world. We say we step away from the world of effect in our opening statement. We're not pulling away from the world. We are creating an enclave. We are stepping into Spirit. And as we expand our abundance and prosperity consciousness, we learn how to master the thoughts that come into our minds. While walking through the sanctuary here at the center, I picked up a copy of our Monterey Center for Spiritual Living core values. And in closing, I share with you the core value of abundance, which is one of our core statements. Abundance, thriving, growth and expansion with more than enough resources of every nature manifested through trust, faith, and reliance on Spirit, self, and others. Our life work over the next 40 days is to engage in the practice of the 40-day prosperity plan, to meditate on the principle of the day, to journal, to participate in the weekly check-in, if your schedule allows you to do so, and to expand your awareness of the abundance that is flowing through your life. And as you expand on the goodness of God, the goodness and the graciousness of Spirit, it creates that opportunity for more to come in. Remember, the practice is 40 consecutive days. And so if you miss a day, it is okay. Just as with everything in life, we can always begin again. This is the beauty of Spirit. It allows us to begin again. And so we embark on this journey together. I am excited. I am committed. And I speak my word of blessing and prosperity on each one that has joined us this morning, as well as those in our virtual community that will be joining us at points along the way. Let us pray together. How good it is to center down and to know that the love of God is absolutely all that there is, the source of all that there is. And so I speak my word this morning, blessing the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living and blessing the virtual community that is truly an expression of the idea and the knowing that God is non-local. God is everywhere present, in all, through all, and as all. And as a good teacher of mine says, God doesn't matter what you call it. And there are various names for God in various traditions. God doesn't care what you call it. What matters is that we call it, that we call forth the awareness of the presence that is within us, and a place of gratitude and thanksgiving, not from a place of begging and pleading, but from a place of declaring the life that I live is God's life. The business that I engage in is God's business. God's life and God's business is good. Therefore, only good can come to me, and only good can come to those that I interact with, recognizing the highest and best for all that is concerned. I speak my word this morning for each prayer that is in the heart of each one of our viewers. And I know that the answer to the prayer already lies in that which is spoken as well as that which is unspoken. And that answer is yes. How good it is to remember that the universe always says yes. The universe always says yes. And so as I expand my awareness of the yes factor, and I become clearer through my spiritual practices of what it is that I desire to have in my life, declaring that it is not only for my good, but for the highest and best good of all that are concerned, I know that the universe says yes. This is how the law works. And so in gratitude for knowing that the law is always working for my good and the highest and best good of everyone, wherever they are and their level of awareness, their level of connection with spirit, I know that the law is always working for our highest and best good. And so for this and so much more, I give thanks. And I release this word, I release this prayer, I release this time together into that law, which says yes. And I allow it to be so. And I invite us to just affirm this together by saying, and so it is. And so it is. And now it is our opportunity for recognizing the abundance that we have, and we have an affirmation of abundance. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. I release this visible substance as an outer symbol of my inner supply into the physical world. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness, and so it is. And it is with deep gratitude that we extend appreciation to everyone who practices and participates us within the law of circulation. Gratitude for those dedicated individuals who continue to mail their checks into the center. Gratitude for the growing contributions that are coming through our website. You may go to the website and the information is on the screen in front of you. There are links to donate through our weekly newsletter, and also you can text to give. So we are making it convenient for all of you to participate in the flow of circulation that allows us to give back to the community in which we serve. And so again, for those of you who have joined us on Facebook, the logistics for the 40-day prosperity plan are in the comments section, and we invite you to go to that, and I will see you on Thursday for our weekly check-in. Thank you to our Facebook family for joining us this morning.